the Money Sauce Podcast, where we talk fantasy hockey to about 10 other people.
Actually, we got 18 views this week.
18?
Yeah, so somebody doubled up, I guess.
Started this thing. Turned
There
it off.
you go.
Felt bad about it. Started it up.
Yep. And we got a subscriber too, so there you go. 499 more to go before we can monetize this thing.
Well, I would love that. If I think I'm fantasy hockey podcast, I it could be far worse.
Absolutely. But I mean, it's fantasy hockey, but the big thing on everyone's mind and on your head is a little bit of a post-mortem here for the Blue Jays. I think we have to talk about it before we get into fantasy hockey, right? I mean,
I think we have to. I mean, it has been. How has it been for you? Before I jump off into a rant here.
okay, yeah, I was gonna say, I'm sure you have a little bit of a soapbox that you've got off to the side there that you're ready to step on. So just let me throw a few thoughts in. Couple days past it being done now, I feel like um um not okay, but I feel like I've come to the place of acceptance. It was a really fun ride. This team completely brought me back into wanting to follow them after kind of boycotting them all season and being upset with, upper management and all that kind of stuff. It was a team effort, clearly. I felt horrible for Vladdy at the end of the final game there. And I dare say I have a little bit of optimism that it seems like Bichette wants to stay. So, if Rogers opens up the the pocketbook, which Lord knows they can afford to, maybe he actually does. So, um, I I know that we're probably going to see extensions um, when it comes to talking about and I was going to say Anthopoulos. Oh man, if only Shapiro and Atkins is what I meant to say there. After this run, I'm not a fan of that, as I've been vocal about amongst our little Blue Jays chat with friends. But yeah, how can I say they didn't earn it after this? So, um, you know, if they get those extensions, hopefully some players are getting those extensions too, and we can have another successful season next year and maybe actually close it out. But it's gonna depend what they do this off season. So that's kind of where I'm at. I'm obviously disappointed they weren't able to pull it off, but there's some optimism there, and that's something I haven't felt about this team since really probably 2016. So, that's where I'm at. But where are you at?
I'm still grieving feels like a strong term, but it feels accurate. It's just like we were watching this Disney movie, but we got the Rocky ending. Like all these magical things happening and records being broken, and like there were so many setups to win, and we it just didn't happen. And that's baseball, baby, but it didn't happen. And we get the Rocky ending. We're like, wait a minute, we lost? What the heck? But it like the Rocky ending, you love Rocky even more for how he lost, and it's similar to this team. Like I love them more for the character behind the team. And but I have watched none of the post game conferences, none of the season ending stuff. A reel showed up. Some guy put like snippets of the J season to "Time of Your Life" by Green Day, and I'm like, nope, not. I'm not ready yet. I'm not ready to let go, which is weird because I mean, this is the most I've been into baseball this year, coincidentally. But it was just such an incredible season, and it's hard to, once it stops stinging, we're gonna look back fondly on it for sure. And it's just I wanted so desperately to reward this team that was winning by sheer will, you know,
Yeah.
and like reward these lovable players in an age where like it's hard to care about multi-millionaires anymore, but these guys are just like a bunch of guys from A ball and career minor league guys showing up and playing at an elite level suddenly. It was so, I wanted to reward that. I think the whole nation wanted them to win because of that, because of how likable they were. But like they couldn't close it down. Like it was frustrating to watch, but like I can't be mad at any of them. You know, yeah, Hoffman gave up a home run, but how many guys did the offense leave on base?
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
on one leg. So it was no one person's fault. Unless you want to blame Yamamoto. But like, how do you get mad at the guy who pitched like a legendary performance for the ages? So it's just
Yeah.
yeah, it's still tough. It still feels very raw, but it was an incredible season, and there's no shame, and you know, no one expected them to get that far, and it was just incredible. So yeah, one day, but not today.
Yeah. Yeah. And do you feel optimistic that we're going to see a lot of these pieces coming back next year, or are you of the mindset that they can open up the book for Bichette and that would be it, or maybe they can do two medium-sized kind of scenarios, or like, yeah, where do you stand on that?
I don't know because this was such a unique, special season. Everyone's throwing the word special around so often and
Yeah,
free. Just it was such a special season. So no matter what, this isn't coming back. Even if everyone resigns and whatever, the Magic's lost a little bit because part of this season was there were no expectations going into it. And so it was just like being blown away game after game. It was amazing. But now like the bar set a little bit higher and who like is Springer gonna turn back the clock again?
yeah, right, right.
Not likely. Hopefully, but like you got to think at some point things are gonna slow down for him.
For
Uh,
sure.
like Scherzer gonna come back and be a starter?
Probably not.
Probably not.
No,
Right.
I
So
could see him coming back. He made comments like he wanted to come back, but
I'm sure
probably,
he'll come back, but he pitched himself out of a starting job in September. Um, and there weren't really any other options. And he pitched tremendously well. But I can't imagine him. It was clear in September, like the wheels were falling off. I think with his performances there. So I can't imagine him going through another season at 42 and performing as well. You know,
yeah,
I don't think he's going to get a month off heading into the playoffs again, or I don't know. So it's hard to even if everyone signs and Bo comes back and everyone gets extended, it's still not going to be what this season was.
right.
Um, so I don't have the same. I'm optimistic they'll be a good team,
Sure.
but it's still not going to live up to the original. It feels like what it feels like. Great, there's like I'm trying to think of a good sequel, but it's never going to be what it was, right? Like I don't know. It really depends on like if like Springer was such a key part of this team, and if he can have like a near MVP quality season
Mhm.
again, and the emergence of Addison Barger as a everyday player potentially. So there's still lots to be excited about. It's just my personality, and it's just like going to be reserved and cautiously optimistic. I think is the fairest term.
Yeah,
But it
yeah.
was such a fun ride.
Yeah, cautiously optimistic is absolutely the term I'm going to be using, which is definitely an upgrade from just angry and don't want to watch this team anymore. So,
All this time, like it was so easy to be angry at ownership, right?
mhm,
Because it just looked like disaster after disaster after disaster contract.
yeah.
And
And they did have the fifth largest payroll in MLB this year.
which
So
and so this is before Vladdy's contract even kicks in, correct?
yeah,
So I think that's like a con in the pros and cons aspect because they're the players that emerged this year were minor league guys,
yep.
you know. So it's like they got lucky. You know, nobody could have foreseen Treyu Savage doing what he did, and if Treyu Savage doesn't do exactly what he did,
Oh yeah, we're
they're
not.
they're
Yeah,
not they beat the Yankees, maybe probably
probably.
Seattle. I don't know.
I don't
So
think
like,
so.
they got lucky's not the word there. Like they won the lottery, like divine intervention. I don't know. But like I still don't really I don't think too highly of the management group. I don't think they deserve maybe they do deserve a ton of credit for this, but it was like a bunch of minor league guys coming together. And certainly not for I mean, I don't know what's going on behind the scenes, but like am I gonna give them any credit for like the character of this team?
No, you can't.
Chips
Like,
that developed and the love that those men have for each other. It's just am I gonna credit Ross Atkins and Shapiro with any of that?
I wouldn't. I'd give that to Snyder if anyone. But yeah, I mean,
Hyder and like Vladdy, the leaders in
maybe.
the room.
Yeah, maybe.
Um, so yeah, you know, they've extended their careers here for sure. Good for them.
Yeah,
But because if this year doesn't happen, you've got to believe that they would finally be out the door.
that's yeah. I mean, that's another conversation, but I wasn't sure that that would actually be the case, which was part of my like distaste for the Jays, you know, all year. It was I was like, they're just gonna bring these guys back, and it's been the same thing since they've been there. They they took the two big names that Anthopoulos brought into the organization, and they just kept putting pieces around it, and
Mhm.
either failing out in the wild card or missing the playoffs. And I guess the pieces that they put in in the minors came up and became, like you say, the team that brought them here this year. So
Like, does anyone see Ernie Clement breaking the major league record for postseason hits?
no,
No.
no, I can't like, yeah, I can't imagine anybody truthfully would say that.
Yeah.
So
So,
yeah,
and that goes into being cautiously optimistic for next year. This postseason was on the back of destiny. It felt like with all these historic
right,
performances from Ernie Clement, career minor league guy, Trey Savage, started the year in A ball,
yeah,
had a rock,
insane,
was back and just went from the smallest stage in baseball to the literal biggest stage in baseball, Game
yeah.
7 series. So it's hard to imagine them doing as well and not breaking a bunch of records. Like, so it's, yeah, cautiously optimistic.
Cautiously optimistic. Well,
They play the way they played, they'll still be a ton of fun.
yeah, and I guess that's really what you all you can ask for, right? Like, um, if if they are going to become a good team for a couple years, but they're going to continue to run into teams like the Dodgers, or if the Yankees start spending a whole bunch again or whatever, like we're never where the Rogers is never. They've made it clear they're never going to spend that kind of money.
Right.
They're competitive and they're fun, and you get that vibe like you've been talking about, that they play for each other, and it's hard not to get behind that. So even if that is our baseball team going forward, and there is a realistic chance of being a playoff, not just a playoff appearance kind of team, because who wants a wild card and done, whatever.
It's hardly the point.
uh
I mean,
yeah, if they're a competitive team for a few years, with this. kind of group of guys and they're fun like that to watch, then what else can you really ask for, I guess, right?
Yeah, if Rogers isn't going to spend $1 trillion, this is
Yeah,
what he gets.
yeah, yeah, exactly. Well, speaking of teams that don't spend money, we don't spend any money playing fantasy hockey.
Yeah, the salary cap league.
Let's have a quick look at what happened in week 4 in the PHL. So something, who has been doing in fantasy football and in fantasy hockey. And for some reason, they show it on the app, but they don't show it on the website, is they have a matchup of the week. And this week, or in week 4, I should say, it was Pete and Marcel. So Pete and Marcel faced off, and I just thought instead of kind of rolling through it like we did last week, I'd point out the kind of player of the matchup. So Marcel picked up the win, and Leon Draisaitl was the player of the matchup for Marcel with the 6.7 points, and led his team to a victory there, and so that brings Marcel up into the 3-1 in the standings there, and Pete's at 500 after that. Not too much of a surprise that Leon Draisaitl was one of the best players of the matchup there.
The
Um,
Stars got to perform if you're going to be a winning team.
that's it. That's it. Um, so yeah, that was our matchup of the week last week. Then after that, it was myself and Dan facing off. I managed to pick up the win, so up to 500. Dan starting the season on 1-3, but his team's namesake, Tim Stutzel, not Strudel, 10 big points for him this week. So,
Goals for assists.
yeah, I
Oh,
mean,
contributing everywhere.
yeah, absolutely. You can't be too upset about that. Hopefully, the rest of the team will help Dan out this week. We had your matchup here against Colin.
It's so funny because last week I said I don't sweat till Saturday night or something. And then
Okay.
Tuesday, Nathan McKinnon and Cole McCarr combined for like 20 points or something stupid. I was like, well, there goes the week.
Yeah. Colin betting on Colorado, but um, you would, or did I see? Yeah, I saw, know, nice 7 points there from Gate. I don't even know how to say his last name there, Gaither. Um,
Okay. Yeah, see, there's
but
Dirk.
here is our player of the week there, Drake Batherson from Ottawa. Another senator putting up 10 points, 10
Young
fantasy
guys in
points this
Ottawa
week.
were, you know, hot commodities heading into this year. There's big expectations on that team. Well, there were expectations on that team to take a big step forward. And the Brady Kachuk injury has kind of thrown a wrench into that. They've got a lot of talent coming up. And, as a Leafs fan, it's time to start worrying, I think. Coming to terms with like the good old days of just hammering Ottawa.
Yeah. So speaking of that for a second, it's something I was going to bring up a little bit later, but now that you've mentioned it, I'm here visiting my in-laws in Kelowna, and I was talking with my father-in-law, and he was, joking around while we were watching the last couple Blue Jays games that this Blue Jays run has been the best thing for the Leafs because everyone's just kind of forgot that the Leafs even exist, even though they haven't been off to the hottest of starts. So it's kind of funny you bring that up,
Talking today, and one of the guys was like, "So the hockey season started today."
right? Like,
Sorry,
yeah,
hockey doesn't exist yet, and it has been great because no one's really notice the way that Toronto notices how different the team is putting it politely.
It's surprising how big of a difference
I'm not
when
surprised. Like even after when Mitch left and people were kind of glad he left because of how that team had lost in the past. I mean, this year they took it to the Stanley Cup champs in 7 games and were quite close. But
right.
like everyone was just happy. Marner's gone, good, breaking up the core four and getting some new DNA. And I'm like, you're gonna try and replace a guy who was a 100-point player, drove your power play, killed all your penalties, uh, with Roy Michelli? Like your expectations of this team are still high, and they lost like the heart of their offense. And I know Matthews scores a bunch of goals when he's not injured, but
Right,
he like Marner was such a key player in all aspects of the game.
right.
Like there's no replacing him, and you have to come to terms with the fact like as I think we're bored of the core four, all that money being tied up in the four of them, um, and the playoff failure year after year. But
Hmm.
that was I think that was still your best chance in terms of having a talented team, um, be competitive in the playoffs. And like for the regular season, you're coasting and doing quite well. You won the division last year,
Right.
so it was uh, and even people who know far more about hockey than me are just like, he's got to go. Like, it's how that team lost that they need change. But it's like, where's the change going to come from? That's meaningful. I think the Shannon plan was the right thing to do. I think looking back, I mean, now we're going to memorialize the Leaf season of this, but
A
this is,
couple of weeks into
I want
it.
my phone. I switched the colors to black and white so I could focus more today. So it feels very solemn.
Okay. I get you.
Like, uh, the Shannon plan, I think the core four was good. I think the mistake was hiring Dubas was a mistake because that set the tone in the Nylander contract, um, that the Stars could get whatever they wanted. You know, I think history has shown that to be the case. Is that set the tone for all the other big contracts that they handed out? Whereas if
So
you stay
what
at your home,
you
Matthews might not sign for 5 years. You might get him at like a 8-year deal or whatever.
okay. But what do you do then? So we're rewinding it. We're going back to, you know, ousting Amarillo and all that. You're not giving Nylander the contract then. You're letting him walk.
Oh,
Like what?
well, because he's restricted, but you let him sit his ass in Europe. You know, Rep-
Oh, until he agrees to
whatever.
something more, yeah,
Like here you
team
go,
friendly.
watching the games all year.
Yeah,
You know, and that would set the tone for the other guys. Like Nealer's not going anywhere. He's still going to be a Leaf. But if he's going to play this game, see you later.
yeah.
Because teams that win, their players take discounts, right?
Yeah. Um, Teams that come close to winning their players take discounts too.
That
McDavid, I'm referring to, of course, but
well, he knows that they're going to need money. This is their window.
right,
He wants
right,
to win.
of course.
Team's got to have money to do it.
Yeah.
So I think he was wise for how he's handled the next at least 2 years. But
And
after
I think that
winning, probably
I think
not.
it's smart for both sides, right? Because you've got him saying, "Hey, I'm in on this, so I'm going to take the haircut, but you got to do this. I've been here for what, 7, 8, 9 years. You've got 10 to 12 years here now of me. And if you don't get it done, I'm out of here, man. I got to win somewhere else then. You know what I mean?
Oh, for sure.
So it works for both sides, I think.
And
And
even on his way out, at least he can say, you know what? I gave the organization 2 years and took no extra money
yeah,
to bring a cup to Edmonton.
yeah, exactly.
So, he gets grace for that, I think.
I I agree. Yeah, absolutely.
Anyways, let's get
Yeah.
the ass kicking that I endured this week.
Yeah, Colin bumping himself up to 500 and scoring a big 78 points, and that brings you to 1-3 on the season there.
Oh, good. I'm already considering it's going to be another rebuild season. I don't want to have two in a row, but um, you gotta act quick. Gotta act fast in this league.
So there you have it. Garrett is open for business.
I didn't say that.
He's ready to add the final hues and collect all the huge stones. And
Oh, oh, first round draft picks, please.
as if you needed more than you had this past year. But
I think it would have helped, but Dustin Wolf.
so we had Rick and New Garrett. I'm going to stick to that nickname.
Gee,
Uh, face off here, and they had a tight one there, 53 to 56 for Garrett, so bringing him to 3-1 on the season, and continuing to talk about the double baseball hockey championships in his eyesight there. Rick 2-2. Alex DeBrincat was from Detroit there, big 10 points this week, so he was the player of the week in that matchup. And yeah,
is
and
this
I would say that would be the player that probably pushed the game to, that one side for Garrett to get the win.
yeah, with 3 points. It's what about Rick? Did he have any 10-point players?
He didn't. I mean, he's got Kyle Connor there with 8, but no 10 pointers on the week. Oh, look at that. Jake Sanderson also with 8. So, yeah, not a bad week by any.
There it is.
It's goalies again.
8 goals a game from
Yeah,
both.
yeah, that hurts. Our next matchup was our last one of the week, I believe, and no, yeah, it was. No, it was not. Sorry. We have Dave and Captain, and of course, I'll give you a guess before I scroll even further down. Captain grabbing the win here to get to 2-2, but
Yeah, one
I'll
game.
give you a guess who had the performance of the week in this matchup.
Oh, Hellbuck.
Yeah, okay, fair guess, but not this time. A 4.5 for Hellbuck, but it was actually one Cole Caulfield with a 6.8. It feels like that's going to be a theme this season for Captain.
Good captain.
Yeah.
35 years of friendships finally paying off for you. Happy birthday, by the way.
Happy birthday, Cappy. That's right.
It's the rare time of year where for Paul likes to give me crap that I'm older than him because I'm a February birthday and I was walking before born November. Um, so he's always calling me old. So this is like a 2.5 month, 3 month window where we're the same age.
There you go.
Suck it, Cap.
That's right. How's your back feeling, Captain? I
What do you
know.
need some
Hmm?
time balm?
Our final matchup, uh, we had Paul, who's taken the win over Ty quite handily,
Oh my
and
God.
moved to 4-0, and starting to get a little worried about Paul already this year. The
If my brother quits, I said he can technically retire as champion. So brother Goodison move.
Well, and you would think, looking at this, that Leo Carlson would have been the player of the week for Paul with 11 points, or for either side. But it was not, because 12.8 from Dawson Mercer.
Dawson Mercer. Where was he last year? Was he in New Jersey still?
Great question, and let's find out. I think you have to do this one.
He got picked up as a free agent. Did you see that? Got to watch that waiver wire, kids.
You do,
Ah,
you do.
that's
I think,
my second piece of advice. Don't draft goalies in the first round and act fast on that.
Yeah, he's been around with New Jersey for a while. With that, we're moving into, well, we're already started week 5. According to Yahoo,
What are these ads?
I guess it wants to know if I am gay or not. I don't know. Whatever. Our This week, Yahoo has designated my matchup with Marcel as the matchup of the week.
Is there any
Uh,
insight to how it determines that? Like, is it
I have tried to figure it out in both hockey and football. And
yeah,
for football, now that it's deep enough into the season, it tends to just take the teams that have the two best records facing off against each other. So I'm wondering if it does the similar thing, but it's going based off of tiebreakers or something like that. Because I can't figure it out, to be honest with you. Um, yeah, and Marcel's 3-1 with
of course.
Garrett, and then I have the highest points for of the 2-2 teams. So I'm assuming that's kind of where it's coming from. So yeah, that's our matchup of the week.
Good
Yeah,
looking.
who really likes Marcel in this one? um, Paul is going up against Colin, so we have another Bloomingdale battle. Yeah, who likes Paul in that one? So will Paul get to 5-0? See, Pete and Rick are both at 2-2, and yeah, who has that tight 68-66? So that should be an interesting one to watch this week. And we have the Battle of the Garrets this week.
Yeah.
Again, a tight one there, 67-65. So, um, maybe you
Look,
can pick up a win and knock down Garrett a peg there.
hopefully.
Hopefully.
Here it's a big
Dave, Dave and Dan are facing off as well. And yeah, who really likes Dave in this one? And Ty and Captain, and Yahoo can't. It's a coin flip. It's not even a full point difference, according to what Yahoo has in the prediction. So we'll see. Is this? This is. I think this is what we were talking. Well, not. I think. I know we were talking about this a bit last week. The whole Tampa Bay players aging out. Blah 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 blah. Is that what's happening with Ty here, or just a slow start? I guess we're gonna see how this week goes.
yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that's what we're looking at for week 5. Um, and I'm 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 hopeful. I'm hopeful that Colin can show his uncle how it's done and knock him down a peg this week as well.
You'll break that. You can do it, Colin.
Attaboy, Colin.
Garrett believes in you.
Yeah, so I hear a whole bunch of kids coming back into the house right now. That's the setup for this week. So I guess it's time to say goodbye.
Time to say goodbye.
We'll come back again next week and do it all over again.
See you next week.